How you going, guys? Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering. Today's job, we're going to be doing some general maintenance on our forklift. So as you can see, this is a Yale forklift. It is a 3.5 ton diesel model, and they are based off the Hyster machines. We bought this with very low hours on it in very good condition from the workshop next door. So we used to use a 2.5 ton Cat forklift. It was a very good machine, but things were getting quite heavy around here and we weren't able to move them. So getting that extra 1 ton capacity was a very big upgrade for us. One of the other requirements was it had to be a container height forklift so we could drive in and out of containers, where the Cat was just a little bit too tall to do that. So this has been an absolutely awesome forklift. It is definitely one of the most utilized machines in this workshop. Not only is it used for loading and unloading trucks, we also use it as a mobile workbench, and it also gets used for disassembling and reassembling cylinders. So having a machine that is as versatile as a forklift is definitely one of those key things that every workshop needs. But considering how much I use this, it is still quite a low hour machine. It only has 723 hours on it. So this forklift has been pretty much trouble free for the past 3 years. All I've had to do is replace the battery and keep it serviced, but there has been an issue developing over the last couple of months, and it nearly cost me $30,000 the other day, so it's time we got on to fixing it. And the issue I'm having is when I go to touch the brakes to slow down the forklift, it locks up the front left-hand wheel, and then the brake pedal goes extremely hard. Holding a pallet full of material and that wheel locks up, the forklift stops pretty well instantly and everything tries to slide off the tines. That is an issue that we definitely can't have with this because we do use it so often. And I have already gone through the process of bleeding the brakes and changing the brake fluid, and that didn't make any difference. So today we're going to be disassembling the brakes to try and find out what the problem is, and while we're at it, we're just going to give it a standard service. So I do suspect it is going to be a problem with the left-hand brake assembly. If both wheels locked up at the same time, I would definitely look at the master cylinder first to see if there was something wrong there. But because it's only the left-hand side that ever locks up, there could be something in there that's seized or is binding. So that's what we're going to check first. So one of the problems with forklifts is they are quite low to the ground, and I don't have any jacks that will actually fit underneath the forklift in order to lift it so I can work on it. So what I'm going to utilize is the mast and the hydraulics on the forklift so I can then put blocks under it, make everything safe, and then we can start to disassemble it.
He's just chilling.
Righto, so I've removed the brake drum. There are a few lines on the inside of the drum where it's been wearing in a bit of a groove. The brake pads have got the same lines on them, but that's not really the problem here. There seems to be quite a lot of dust. It is very common for drum brakes and even disc brakes to create dust, but unfortunately with a forklift, they don't really get fast enough in order to eject out that brake dust, so it sort of stays confined in the drum. Over time, it will build up and it can create issues. So I have tested the brake pedal and I can see that only the front shoe seems to be moving. There is something tight going on there because nothing else is doing any moving. And after closer inspection, I have noticed that the plunger on the back side of the slave cylinder isn't moving freely. So whether that's the culprit or not, I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to keep disassembling this and see what else we find.
Come on.
So I have successfully removed the slave cylinder. I'm going to pull that apart now to see if there's any reason why the pistons inside might be binding and not allowing free movement. Ooh, barrel inside's all yucky. So I'm just going to push this out. Oh, as far as I can get it.
Oh my goodness, how do you get that out?
Pressure. So we'll put that back in there and put a bit of air pressure in that and blow them out. Righto, guys, so now we've got the slave cylinder apart. I'm pretty sure this is the culprit. There is a lot of material that has been trapped in there, and it wasn't exactly brake fluid. It was a mix of brake dust, fluid and water. So we do have a fair bit of etching and pitting in the barrel, which wouldn't be doing the seals any good. And the pistons themselves have actually got a lot of rust on them as well. So I'm 100% confident that this was creating the problem. So now I'm going to make some phone calls to make sure I get some replacement parts. If we can, I'm going to disassemble the other side and replace it as well. Oh, there's no stock in Brisbane. So unfortunately the main parts dealer for the Yale forklifts don't have any in stock, but I was able to contact a company who services forklifts. They do have one in store, and they also have one in one of their service vans. So we've got about an hour and a half before that service van will be back at their dealership. So while we're waiting, we're going to disassemble the other side and get all of these parts put in the hot wash and cleaned up. Oh, that was tight. Yeah, there was a rust in there. This one wouldn't have been too far behind it. Right, remember, blue zip tie, right hand side. So while I'm waiting for the parts washer to clean all those parts, I'm going to do the service on the motor. So the first thing I'm going to remove is the air filter.
Dusty. Okay.
Might just have to blow that out.
Yep.
So now I'm going to drain the sump. Once I've done that, I'm going to remove the oil filter. So now while the oil's draining from the engine and the parts washer's running, I'm going to go and pick up all the parts I'm going to need.
Sit. What's this? Spin around. High five. Oh, good boy. What's in the joyfuls?
Righto guys, so I've been out and picked up our new parts. I've got our 2 new Slade cylinders. I've also managed to pick up 10 litres of oil and a new oil filter. Unfortunately, the fuel filter and the air filter were not in stock, so they're going to be a couple of days away. But that's alright because our forklift still got about 27 hours before those parts needed to be changed. So I'm not going to worry about those today. What we're going to do next is get on to reassembling the brakes. So the parts washer's done its cycle, everything's nice and clean and it's all cooled down now. So now we'll get them out and start reassembling the right hand brake system. The new ones are narrower, they won't go over the...
Oh, you can just swap them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't get your hand around the back of it. And they got it. Oh, you... Oh my god, I need to stop. Oh.
Yay!
God. Don't. Oh,
Yes.
Righto guys, so I finally got both of those retaining springs on. That is definitely a bit of a struggle because everything is trying to move together and it is quite difficult to get your hands behind everything to hold stuff in place. There is probably some special tool that you, a professional, would use to do that, but we did manage to get it done using some pointy nose pliers. So now with that done, we can keep assembling the rest of the brake components. So I did actually take a photo of the left-hand side just to see how everything should look when it's finished. Not all brake drums are the same. Everyone does something a little bit different. Having that picture to reference back to was very helpful, except just had to remember to mirror everything because I didn't take a photo of this side. So now with that done, I'm going to refit the brake drum and the hub, and then we can reinstall the axle. So we've got the hub and the axle reassembled. I'm not going to fit the wheel just yet because of limited access. So now I'm going to go over to the left-hand side and get those brakes reassembled. hanging on to it. We've got pliers jammed in there. Oh, it's on. Righto, so we've got this side completely reassembled. I was just checking the reference photo to make sure everything was in the right spot, but it did turn out that I had the bottom spring which holds the two shoes together in the wrong spot, so I have moved it into the correct position.
Did you check that on the other side?
But then I realised I did the same thing on the other side. So even though that spring is probably not going to make a massive difference to the way the brakes function, the problem is I know it's wrong, so I'm going to have to go back, take the axle back off, take off the brake drum, move the spring to the correct position, and then reassemble it again. Righto, so we've got both sides completely reassembled except for the wheels. So the next thing we're going to get on to doing is bleeding the brakes. So to help with bleeding the brakes, I'm going to be using a air venturi system. Because air can't be compressed, that creates a spongy pedal. So what this does is it creates a vacuum in the brake circuit, and that'll then suck all that air out of the system, and it's only oil left in there, which gives you a nice firm brake pedal. So before I go and add brand new brake fluid, I am going to suck whatever is left in the system out into the catchment bottle. Once I've got the system cleared, I'll put brand new brake fluid in there, and then we can start the bleeding process. So you just pull the trigger and it'll pull it up through this line.
Okay. That's not much. Okay.
No, well, that doesn't hold much. So as I'm bleeding the brakes, you will see all the air coming through the line into the catchment bottle. But once I've gotten rid of all of the air bubbles, you will see only fluid coming up the line into the bottle, and that means we've got the air out of this side of the system. And then we'll go to the other side and do it, and we might go back and forward 2 or 3 times to get all the air out of the system, because there is a T-fitting that connects the left and the right hand brake assemblies to the master cylinder. So when bleeding a brake system, it's very important you keep an eye on your reservoir level to make sure you've got enough fluid in there. If you do let it run a little bit low and it does suck in a bit of air, you need to start the process again. So we've finished bleeding the brake. So now with that done, we're going to refit the wheels. Now we've got the wheels fitted, I'm going to move on to the engine. I'm going to refit the sump plug and spin on the new oil filter. So there has always been a debate out there whether you pre-fill oil filters before you install them on an engine. I don't believe that's necessary because once the engine starts, it only takes 1 or 2 seconds and that oil filter is full of oil. And trying to fill this with oil and then install it, because it is a side mount, you're going to lose most of that oil anyway and you're just going to make a mess. So we're just going to lubricate the face seal and screw it on.
Oh my God, what the, not right, something's wrong.
So we've hit a bit of a hurdle. That filter is not screwing onto the engine. The supply must have given me the wrong one. What I'm going to do is shoot up the road, grab another one so we can get back onto this.
I see it, yes.
Take 2. So we've got our oil filter installed. Now we're going to move on to the air filter. So the last thing I need to do is fill the engine with oil.
full mark.
So that's our brake repair and our service complete. Last thing I need to do is get this off the blocks, take it outside for a test run. So the forklift's fixed and the brakes are working exactly how they should be. If we were still having issues with the brakes, the next thing I would check would be the master cylinder. But what we've done here today has fixed the problem. So now I don't have to worry about the brakes locking up and potentially dropping a job. So all up, the cost to repair the forklift today, the slave cylinders were $90 each. If I was able to get them from the Yale supply here in Brisbane and they had them in stock, they would have only been $40 each. The brake fluid was $11, the oil filters were $20, but if I'd got supplied the right one, it would have only been $10, and the engine oil was $70. So for $281 and a couple of hours work, it was well worth the effort to go through and repair the brakes and get the forklift back to a nice, safe, standard machine to use. So that's another workshop job ticked off the list. Thanks for watching.
What? Did it really? Poor little fella.
Go, get that.
So this has been an, oh fuck, I really lost it. So having something like this, righto guys, so I've been, but the brake, I'm gonna refit, So as I'm purging the line, did I say purging? And then I can refit. So that's another workshop job tipped off.
Smells okay. Looks okay. I had flashbacks
Of what?
to the Franacrane. Oh, what? What is that?
Oh, it's gritty.
Ay, ay, ay. Holy moly. Crikey. What the hell was that? Seriously, man? Oh, bloody hell. Are you okay?
That was a finger.
Alright, so you're connecting that to the...
Bleed nipple.
See in there? I wonder if I can see from the other side.
Can you see through there?
Not really, but that's fine. Keep going. How can you even see what you're doing? It's very hard to see in there. You really need a torch or something.
Can you see anything?
Oh, no, because there's an engine oil thing there. I'd probably have to pick a different angle. Not really. George! That one. Oh, hey. Oh my god. No. Does it squeak?